So in this video, we've got this utils.js file. So that's kind of a common convention where we start writing utility functions that we want to import and use across our code base. And to go right along with that, we're going to want to write what's called a unit test. So a unit test is a test that we write to test an individual unit of code. Basically what that means is a function. So a function is what? It's a reusable block or unit of code, and we're going to write a test to test it. Now there's a few different testing libraries that are in play in the JavaScript community. Everything from like Jest, which is a bit outdated, to vtest. But we're just going to be using Bun. Since we have the Bun toolkit installed, we actually won't need to add any additional packages to our file. We just use Bun and we're good to go. So we'll just get right into it. So what I'm going to do is create a new file called utils.test.js. So by following this format here, it works out pretty well because you have your file name and then you have the exact same thing right underneath it. It kind of alphabetizes it. The difference is it's utils.test.js. So writing unit tests is actually something that the AI kind of really excels at, so we'll lean into that a little bit. But we're going to start by importing the file that we want to, or the function that we want to test. So that is getLetterGrade. Now this is a specific named export here. So what I'm going to do is put up some braces, pop the name of that in there, and then, yeah, that should be correct. And we can see here the AI is already starting to write our test. So yeah, this is good enough. There's no reason for me to retype this. I'll go ahead and hit Tab to accept this. So this is kind of good here, but we need to, let's go ahead and take care of a couple of things here. We're going to import. There we go. Okay, we don't need describe though. Okay, so there are a few other libraries, like if somebody wasn't using Bun, they might be using vtest or something, which they would need to install that and everything else, but they still all kind of share these same things, like with expect and the keyword test, for instance. Sometimes people use it instead of the keyword test. Nevertheless, the format is kind of the same, and for a simple test like this, it's pretty readable. I don't even have too much more to say, but let's just point out a few things. So we are importing the things that we want to use from Bun, specifically from the testing suite that it has. So we do want to make sure you import those things, and you want to import whatever function you're trying to test from the appropriate file. From there, you have this keyword test, and let's take a look at what we have here. It's actually two arguments, right? We can identify two arguments. The first is a string that's, just describes what the test is, which this is good enough right here. And then the second thing is, of course, a callback function. So how do we run a test? If we want to run a test, we're going to pass in a string to describe what this test is. And then we're going to pass in a callback function that's going to actually call the functions to run the test. Now from here, we're following a common testing principle that applies to any language, where there's three A's of testing, right? We have arrange, act, and assert. And this is so simple that we've kind of put all of this into the same situation here. So we're arranging our tests by creating some inputs and expected outputs. The first input is 95, and we expect that to be, the expected output is A. So that's kind of our arrangement. The act is the act of calling the function, and then the assert is really the expect, and that's expecting, when we call the function, we expect it to match the desired output. So arrange, act, and assert, the three A's of testing. It's really all it is, and from there you just want to write, a few test cases. And as you can see, especially for these simple utility functions, you almost don't need to do anything. But just like with anything that's AI generated, you want to learn what's going on, verify it, things like that. So how do we actually run this test? We'll want to go in here to our package JSON and add a script to actually run our test. So we'll go in here and make sure we add a comma, and we'll say test, and then bun run test. Or it might just be bun test. Let me try that. I'm actually not 100% sure. Let's just see what happens. So we've got that all set up. We'll just say bun test. And yeah, that's all it is. So we've got one pass, nothing fails, and we basically ran 5 tests within the one test, or 5 expects. If you just want to see what it looks like to fail, we'll just artificially make this fail. Like, obviously this is a bad test, it's supposed to. I just want to show you what it looks like to have it fail, and then it'll kind of highlight where it failed and everything. And it's really all there is to writing basic unit tests.